Ready to make a real impact every day? Join the Active Day Home Care team and help clients maintain their independence in the comfort of their own homes. Make a difference in someone's life as you provide essential daily assistance and protect their health and happiness. Earn up to $20 an hour and enjoy additional perks like optional daily pay, 401k, paid time off, ongoing educational training, and more. Join a team that values care, compassion, and your professional growth. Visit activeday.com to apply.
Stop right there. Yeah, you. If you like all things entertainment, current events, or Hollywood, then look no further. Creator to Creators, hosted by director Meosha of Horror Noir, interviews filmmakers and creatives from around the world. Join in on the fun, guest celebrities, and informative information to have as a creator. Hit subscribe and stay connected to Creator to Creators.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Creators to Creators today. Today, we have a special guest.
Mr. Mack Holland is here.
Welcome.
How you doing,
Meosha? I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great. I've been anticipating this meeting for a long time now. And so now we're here.
We are here.
Okay.
Have you had your morning coffee yet?
Oh, I don't drink coffee, Meosha, but I've had my morning breakfast and my morning run at the gym. So
That's
I'm good.
Even better, even better.
Yeah.
So I love going. First of all, I love every guest. I love opening up, and I like to go to the beginning, and just like our childhood. Because I always say, like, the things that we do, our habits, right? They tend to kind of chart where we're going to be going in life. So tell me a little bit about your childhood growing up, and a little bit of how you kind of got into the music, how that started.
Okay, Meosha. I come from a very spiritual family. I started grade school in a Catholic school, raised in a Baptist church. Always been into athletics, played a lot of sports. Always been into music. I started writing poetry when I was about 15.
Wow.
And in fact, I got a catalog of poetry in the Library of Congress.
Nice.
Sang in musical groups as a youngster. I was the lead singer. And I wrote this song. My first song I wrote was called Your Love is a Thrill, back in about 2012, I think it was. And it became very popular. I didn't record it myself. It was a company out of Nashville called Paramount Song. And they liked this song and they recorded it for me. And ever since then, of course, I'm continuing to write my poetry. In fact, I got a popular poetry book. It was Poetry, Song, and Inspiration.
Nice.
And it's a top seller on Amazon and all the book sites because I love writing inspiration as well.
I love that.
From that point on, I started recording music. My first big hit for me, Your Love was a Thrill was a big hit, but my first gospel hit was called Are You Ready for Your Blessing, which came out in about 2017. I recorded it with Grammy winner, Mr. Kevin Bond out of Atlanta, and it's very popular as well. From that point on, I just got hooked on recording gospel music. I recorded a song called He Is last year, very popular. And from that point on, I had the inspiration to record another one, and that came about is Lord, I Thank You, which is very popular. It's been out about a week and a half now.
Love it.
Called Lord, I Thank You. And I just love recording music, and I love inspiration. I post inspiration on my Facebook every week. And I'm in the progress of writing my second book, an inspirational book as well. So I'm just a very inspirational person, Meosha. I don't drink or smoke or anything like that. I'm been into athletics all my life, and I'm a runner every day. I just love doing healthy things, whether it's mentally or physically.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much Mack Holland. I got two beautiful kids, Jasmine and Carlos. Jasmine just graduated from Kennesaw State in Atlanta.
All right.
She's a business analyst for the Bear Company. And I've just been blessed, Meosha. Just been blessed. And I love talking about it in song and in writing and in speech. That's just the way I am. I'm from Augusta, Georgia. I'm sitting right here in Augusta right now. And anything else you want to ask me, Meosha, I'll be glad to tell you.
No, I love that. I think that's amazing that you know, you write poetry and also you exude, very positive energy, like
Right, right,
whatever you put out. And I can hear that through the music. And
right.
I'm a PK kid myself. Um,
Okay.
I grew up in Florida, so
Oh my God. Right. I
around the
love Florida.
church, so
Yeah,
it's definitely a part of my foundation of who I am,
exactly. It's
for
it's
sure.
it's in me. Just like it's in you, it's just in, and it always will be,
Yes,
you know.
exactly. So
Mm.
so tell me, this song, I read a little bit in the bio, like of like, why you made it. And so tell some, like, the listeners, how did that, how did it come about, the song and the process of making Thank You,
Okay,
Lord?
Meosha, anytime I write any song, I come from the heart.
Yeah.
Like when I sit down and write a song, I say, I'm gonna talk about God today. I just think about all the things that I feel. Just like if you listen to the words and Lord, I thank you, I just talk about him and how I feel. If you listen to my song called He Is, those words are authentic. It's how I feel that day. And I just put it down, just put it down. I sit down and meditate on the words that I want to express, and that's about it. I mean, just to, you've been around, I'm sure you probably heard this story. My song, Are You Ready for Your Blessing? I had no intentions of making that song. Of course, I woke up one morning, it was a blessing to me, the words, and then I got up and I just started writing the words that God had given me, wrote it down and put it on a recording. So it just comes from the heart, Meosha. I just try to speak from the heart, make adjustments, where I need to make adjustments, but it has to be real and
Right.
how I feel about what he has done for me and what he is doing for other people.
If
So,
you don't mind sharing a little bit of, like, just some of the things that God has brought you through. Like, I mean, obviously, you don't have to share too much, things that you're comfortable with sharing, that, that you at the moment didn't see yourself making yourself getting through, but
yeah.
God, you got through it.
Ooh, I mean, I guess everybody can tell stories about childhood and growing up around teenagers. We
Yeah.
have to make adjustments in life. I think we all sometimes make the mistake of following the crowd when you're young. He brought me out of that when I was 18. When I graduated high school, I changed into a totally different person. He took away things that I used to do and made me stronger mentally,
That's
physically.
great.
And
That's
from
great.
that point on, I just been climbing a ladder, Meosha, ever since I was 18. And thing about it, and you know this as well, even though you might make mistakes in life, if you just never, you know, um, release his hand. See, I was raised in the Baptist church. I went to school with sisters or nuns, back in the 60s and 70s, and they basically made you do the right thing. You had to come to school in uniform, and I never forgot that. It was a disciplinary thing. It was almost like being, I don't know if you ever been in the military, it's almost being in the basic training because
Mm.
they made you do the right thing.
Hmm.
And I never forgot that. I never forgot that hand in my family, my mother, her Baptist church. We went to the church every Sunday. We ate at church, things like that. So those things were instilled with me. So even though I might go through trials and tribulations, you
Right.
never lose that hand of God. And you ask him to bring you through, and he brought me through. I've never released that.
Yeah.
And so he brought me through high school and trials and tribulations. Um, Health, and he instilled I started my physical fitness routine when I was 21 years old, running 5 miles every day, and now I'm running
Wow.
like 15, 20 miles every
Wow.
other day.
Wow,
I've
you look
never
great. You look
I,
great.
I've never stopped that. And he learned me to adjust. In a world we live in, you got people with different attitudes, things you just didn't know when you was young,
Hmm.
but you learn to adjust your mind and adjust your circle. And
Yeah.
if you are looking, pick up my book, Mack Holland, Sweet Inspiration, um, the book of inspiration, poetry, and song. I talk about these things. It's not all about poetry or a song. I have inspirational passages that I
Hmm.
talk about health. I talk about mental health, dealing
Yeah.
with dealing with people, And he has just taught me how to deal with people and taught me how to keep my mind and my body healthy.
Yeah. Especially this business that we're in to talk, the music, and I think entertainment and film is the same thing. The mental health is such a serious thing in
Oh
our
my goodness.
industry.
And Meosha, with social media,
Oh,
people is so rude out there nowadays. I'm just,
yes.
I listen to some of these shows on television and how they put people, whether you're an athlete or an entertainer, and the lies that they spread about people. I mean, I guess, all our lives, Miosha, we always prayed for freedom,
Hmm.
but it's so much freedom out there, Miosha, that you got people that just do some of the rudest things.
Really?
I say that's awful. Social media can be a blessing for everybody, but you always got that handful that's just is saying evil things. And just like you said, I'm saying this because you have to be strong-minded,
Absolutely.
because people say bad, ugly things about people. Just because you're an athlete, or just
Hmm.
because you're an entertainer. I mean, I'm not gonna name no names, but so I see some of these entertainers, people spreading lies about them and their family,
Yeah.
and they have to deal with that every day. I just couldn't imagine that.
Yeah, like the yeah, it was funny. I remember I did a film some years ago, maybe
Mm.
like 3 4 years ago, and it was on a pretty big scale, and it was with Jordan Peele and Loretta Devine and all like the
Yeah,
greats in the
right.
business.
Yeah.
And someone asked me, "How did you get that?" And you must have sold your soul. And I'm like, "What?
I tell you,
No."
the different attitudes and the way people think but you have to get through it and don't let it affect how you feel about yourself. You got to
Right,
realize what you're dealing with. And I tell people, the devil was here before you was born. He's going to be here after you're gone.
right.
You just got to know how to deal with it. Simple as that.
Absolutely,
And
absolutely,
and keep yourself out of that circle the best way you can.
absolutely.
And accept God's blessings. Remember, you're blessed, and keep
That
moving.
and keep. I like that. Accept
That's right.
God's blessing and keep moving.
That's
I
right.
I love asking this question, because the answer is always different. If you could perform with any artist, living or dead, who would you perform with and why?
Oh, good gracious. Now you talking to a music lover. I love so many people. I love I love gospel. I love R&B. But right off me, Osha, I guess I would have to choose Ron Isley.
Oh, wow.
I mean, because I love his
I love
voice.
that.
I was so sad to hear you heard his brother pass a
Yeah.
couple of days ago, but I've always been a fan of the Isley brothers. I mean, oh my goodness. From I think the album Fight the Power. Well, I mean, I think I was like maybe 11 or 12 when my mom then was just playing Fight the Power. And that's the one that had The Heat Is on it. And the cut that him and Beyonce just made, that was on it.
Hmm.
And but so I've always been a fan of his voice. It's
Yeah.
so feeling. Sometimes when I want to get inspired, I just cut on some Ron Isley and just listen to it. And I love Johnny Gill too. I think he's an example of a person that just can go anywhere with his octaves, Meosha.
Yeah.
So, but Ron Isley, I think Ron Isley, and Ron Isley is up in age. He could tell me some things. He could give me advice. so,
Definitely.
so yes, it'd probably be Ron Isley.
I
I
love
mean,
that.
he's
Great
been
answer.
places. He's been so many places. Coach, so you definitely get some experience with Ron Isley.
1000%. That's a good one. I haven't heard that one yet. I like that one. That's a good
Mhm.
one. Um, so I'm just curious, like, like you said earlier, I love that you said, because you said that you inspire people, you love to inspire. But I'm sure, like, in order to give it out, right, you have to fill your own cup,
I'll tell you
right?
that exactly. Every day, me ocean,
So,
every day,
right.
24/7. You have challenges every day. The
What do
devil
you
doesn't
use?
the devil doesn't rest.
Absolutely.
That's right. And he don't target the people that are already lost. He target the ones that he need to bring in, me ocean.
Right. That
So
part.
people like me and you, he's targeting us every day. But you know what? I'm starting to enjoy it. I love keeping in God's direction, and I know what's coming at me, so it's no big
Yeah.
deal. It's no big deal.
I like that. What do you like? I mean, as far as like, do you believe that having a good surrounding and a group, like for me, I have a great mentor,
Mhm.
who's in the business, who I can call and talk to just for advice when I'm like up against something,
Right.
or do you feel like your surrounding is also key to your success in this business?
Uh, your surrounding in a way, the surrounding you put yourself in. Now,
Hmm.
I'm a very independent type person. I'm not the type of person that if I got something going on that I'm gonna pick up the phone and say, "Hey, what you think of this?" or something like that. I'm not. My my first thing is I love to meditate on the Lord.
Love that.
God gives me direction, and He's been doing it for so long. That's where I reach out to. I'm not the type of person. I mean, if I got, if I'm having a problem on my computer, I might call my daughter and say, "Hey, Dad, something like that." But
Yeah,
inspirationally, in my heart, something's going on in my life. I look from directions from God up above. And if you listen to my song, that's what I talk about. I look for His
mm,
directions. So that's my first reach out is to the Lord. There is nobody that I really look to give me advice on life, anything like that. God has done so well with me. He's
yeah.
my first reach out. And if anybody else knows, I think God would give me that knowledge as well. So, I hope I answered your question, but that's
I like
basically
that.
that's basically how I live every day. I'm a very, you know, private person.
Me too.
I love to go to the park and sometimes just look at the water and just think, read, write, things like that. And God is my best friend,
I
my
love that.
father, and that's who I reach out to all the time.
I think that's beautiful. And you're right. That's who we should reach out to more. Like, yes, man, it's there. It's cool to have friends, but
Yeah,
God, will give you the right answer all the time.
exactly, exactly, Meosha, exactly.
Do you feel like the music industry is changing for the better? I mean, opposed to what it was way back when, and then just getting your music out there now, there's is so much, it's so saturated, and it's not much positive music out nowadays. So
Exactly. You answered your own question. You answered your own question. I was about to say it. Of course, this modern music, it's just so much freedom, Meosha. I mean, back in the 70s, you could not say some of the things that they say in these
right,
songs. You know what I'm saying? Just like
yeah,
television. Back in the 70s, you couldn't um, make some of these films that they have on television that little kids can watch now. So music has changed so much. That's why I listen to Sirius satellite radio and listen to all the old school heart and soul. Oh my, that's my favorite station. Listen to those songs because these songs nowadays, is just out there. You know,
yeah,
I think some of the groups now are going back in time and bringing up some of these old songs and redoing them. But for the most part, this modern music is just way out.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
different. It's
Yes, it
different.
it really is.
Is it hard to like I mean to navigate, like, when you're putting your stuff out against all that other stuff, like to
Mhm.
get it on the charts?
Yeah.
um
No
but
adjustment. I make no adjustments. I don't care, Meosha, whether my song is not listened to. I write and I record from my heart.
right,
I've heard artists talk about how they have to adjust their music, to be accepted in this. I just can't do it. My music comes from the heart.
yeah,
It's not about money.
that's
It's not
great.
about fame. It's just coming from my heart. It's like when I write my books, it's from my heart. I want people to know how Mack Holland feels.
Right.
You know, whether you like it or not, it's no big deal to me. So no, I don't make any adjustments to be like anybody else or to be accepted, in the world we live in. It's just sharing my heart and my feelings.
And about that, just to touch on it just a tad bit, I did see something recently about, like, there was these artists talking about independent and versus mainstream, and a lot of artists want to get on like a big like Paramount or Sony Records.
Record label and stuff, Epic, Motown.
Right. And it's great and all, but do you think that those can also, like, when it's a lot of artists that, not all of them, but a lot of artists who everyone now are saying that, now we have social media online, we can be independent
Exactly.
and there's more freedom. So that there is a plus to that.
It's about knowledge, Meosha. You can, in the world we live in, you can have the same knowledge that record companies have.
Right.
If you don't have that knowledge, I mean, if you just maybe a kid or somebody you just don't know how to gain knowledge, a record company might be good. But like for me, for example, I know all about distribution. I know all about promotion. I know how to register my songs. I know where I have to join here. So join a record company right now at this phase in my life really wouldn't mean nothing, because what they're going to do is whatever money you make, they're going to take most of it. So I've learned to invest in myself, Meosha. So it comes down to what type of artist you are. If you are that type of artist that you can do the work, because somebody has to do the work. If you can't do the work, then you bring in a record company. They'll do the work, but they got to get paid.
Yeah.
They get paid in the process. They're gonna have to get paid when they put you in that studio, or when they have people to put you in distribution or promotion. You have to pay. I mean, they have to get paid for doing that. But as an independent person, you just do that right off the bat by yourself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So over the years, I've learned to be independent.
Nice.
So it really, I probably wouldn't be happy being signed with somebody else, because they would take control. Next thing you know, this and that. So I'm good. I'm good right now. God, like I say, God has blessed me all my life. It's not like music is something that I got to
like depend on or something.
Yeah, build my life around. I'm at a point to where I can have fun. I'm having fun, people listening to my music and everything. It's not something I got to depend on. It's like I tell people, it's a hobby. It's a hobby right now. So, but it's interesting that you brought that question up, because I was just talking to some of my friends about that. And in today's world, you can just find out information about anything that you want to do. If you got the time to read and study, you can find out almost anything. Absolutely. So that's what I've been doing all these years, and that's why I know so much about the music business.
I think that's smart. I mean, that's how you stay ahead of it. And you hear so many times. I mean, I was just looking at something in a documentary about these artists who get signed, and whether it's and oh my goodness, they don't see.
You always hear these horror stories, don't you? Ooh. Because it's a business, and what they got to realize is when people bring you into business, they got to get paid. I mean, you hear some horror stories, but sometimes when you listen to the whole thing, it's like, yeah, I can understand why they feel like, because they really, I mean, they made you famous, but they did this. They put you in a studio.
Right.
They bought this and they bought that. And yes, you were successful, but they were paying the bills. You wasn't coming out your pocket. You was the talent. But when it comes down to it, that money, Meosha. So you have to keep in mind all those things. But sometimes, Meosha, people just thinking about fame.
That's it.
I'm famous. I'm going to be famous. Okay, you're going to be famous, but remember who's making you famous. Right. and what they are doing to make you famous. Nobody just does you any favors. No. It costs money to get produced. It costs money to get your record out there, for radio stations to play your song. And so if that company is doing all this, believe me, they want their money plus interest.
And so true. It's so true.
And it's sad, but you just have to watch things.
Yeah, and that's what I mean, it's the same, I think, in the film world too. Like, I'm very much now, like, I was in a really bad contract when I was really green behind the ears. I signed this contract for this distribution deal like some years ago. I was super young. I was like, yeah, I've got my first
That's
one.
Right. That's how it is.
And then you're like, wait a minute, for 10 years?
That's right. But you was happy that you was on your way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I learned a lot. So I tell people, read those contracts thoroughly, because it's terrible. I love asking this question.
Okay.
And everyone has different answers, and I love hearing everyone's like, reason. So the three levels of influence: money, power, or respect. And if you could choose one of those things, which one would you choose and why?
It would have to be respect.
Okay.
Money, money, what money has done to man, Meosha. Power, only power I know is God. Okay.
That's
I'm
good.
not, I'm not your power. In fact, I mean, don't get me to preaching, Meosha.
Please, I'm ready for it. I'm ready to
No,
take
because I
church.
was, I'm just like I was telling some friends of mine, and we talk all the time about my relationship with my kids. I never had a master attitude with my kids. My attitude with my kids is, hey, we are family. I'm here for you. You know, I can't make you do anything. I never hit my kids all my life. We talk. I try
Love
to explain to them, but because I know when it comes down to it, I'm just a child of God, just like you're a child of God. I'm not your master.
that.
I'm somebody that's going to be there for you to give you advice, and I'm based on what I know. I might be wrong, I might be right, but at the end, you got to make your own decision.
Right.
And so I don't put myself on a pedestal. I'm just a child of God. Just like you're a child of God, we're all brothers and sisters in God's world. That's the Father. That's the
Yeah.
headstone.
Yeah.
So power, definitely not money. It's all about respect for me.
Mm,
And that goes through following the headstone, which is God Almighty. Simple
yeah.
as that. So that one word is respect.
I like that. I like
Um,
that. I there was a guy that asked this question. He was like, "I'm not gonna lie, I need money." I
I'm
was like,
saying,
"Hey,
yeah,
hey, you gotta, you're being honest."
Meosha, we have those. I had that a type of conversation, and it's funny. He was talking about, and you may have heard about it because you keep up with the news. Uh, Taylor Swift's, I think
Oh, yeah.
she was selling her shorts for $800, and
Mm.
I was like, why would somebody pay eight? And then he was on the thing. Well, on a business aspect, if you buy them for $800 in 10 years, they might be worth $1 million. So I'm like, yeah, that's the way man thinks, Meosha.
Yeah.
But in God's word, it's totally ridiculous. It's
Yeah.
totally ridiculous. I
Yeah.
mean, why would you take $800 and buy somebody's worn shorts? But in man's world, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So, my mind is just not in man's world, it's in God's world.
And
So,
I like that.
you bringing up things that I just talked about it. We just talked about that the other, but that just shows how different people's minds are, the way
Yeah.
we think. And that's what I'm talking about, the circle that you live in, and what you listen to every day, it
Mm,
kind of affects your life.
it
So I
does.
try to keep my mind in a positive circle. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
You
You don't
have
want to
to.
be you don't want to be in a circle that you're always negotiating with, or trying to make them see something. They trying to make you see something. Get in a circle that's going in your direction, that you
Mm,
understand and they understand you.
I love
But
that.
it is something else. This world is it's always something to talk about, Meosha.
Yes, it is. And I wonder, from your experience, and I love, because you have a lot of experience and knowledge in this business. For those that are listening, the newcomers or someone who's curious about getting into this business of music or
Mhm.
entertainment, what advice would you give them?
First of all, start writing. If you are a songwriter, start writing from the heart. Um, See if you can, whether you got your own band, or want to get a great music producer. Uh, get on social media and find out about the knowledge about the business, about production, distribution, registering your music. I know a lot of people, because I have my music on all kinds of sites, and there is great songs out there, Meosha, that people don't know about, because
Right.
the artist just doesn't know about distribution or promotion. And so you need to find out about distribution, what distribution is, how to promote your music, of course,
Yeah.
how to register your music. Your music has to be registered with organizations like BMI. In order for you to really get credit, you got to know how to register your music with Sound Exchange, places like that. And if you can go through all those levels, you know, you'll be successful in some kind of way. At least people will hear your music and know what you're doing. But my advice is to just basically study in the music business, what you have to do, you know, write, record, register your music, join Sound Exchange, and that's about it. That's about it. It's just and stay from the heart.
Yeah.
You know, record what's really in your heart, and that's about it.
I love that. Anything that you want to share with the audience, like oh, and also where can people follow you on social media?
Well, you can follow, of course, my website is https Mack Holland really simple. It's mackholland.com. Of course, I'm on Facebook and Twitter as well.
Twitter, nice.
Yes, I'm on Twitter as well. So I haven't joined TikTok as well. I keep saying I need to get on TikTok, but you know, I'm just not one of those big. So I love my Facebook now
Me
because
too.
I write a lot of inspiration. So I love sharing that with my audience. I got a great audience, friends and family and things like that. But yeah, I do have a website, and you can follow me on Twitter and Facebook.
Love it, love it.
Mm.
I feel like I just would love to hear like could you leave us like with a quote that it could be a quote or something that a word of advice, something to close it out for the listeners, something that I don't know sticks with you today that inspires you, a quote that just I don't know, like I have a few quotes of mine that I kind of
Give it
refer
to
back
us.
to.
Give me your favorite quote. What keeps you going every day?
Oh wow. I literally it's super simple. I live, I love, and I laugh. I
Okay.
literally those are my three top things, like live, love, laugh. That's
Wow.
my motto.
And that's great. With mine, Meosha, every day I get up, I think about relaxing my mind, heart, body, and soul, uh, and letting God lead the way. Keep my hand in God's hand and let Him lead the way. Always realize that there's gonna be smoke in your tracks, smoke on your path. But just keep your hand in God's hand and follow His direction. Okay, everything's gonna be just fine. You
Love
know, that's
that.
the way I live every day. Keep my mind and body and soul clean the best you can. And just have faith in Lord. Have faith in the Lord and do all the things that He wants you to do, or you feel He wants you to do. Um, I always say, live like you really feel that God is sitting on your shoulder. You know, I see some people that say that they are, you know, God fearing, but I'm like, if you actually thought God was sitting on your shoulder, would you do that? What you're doing?
Right.
If you actually felt that God was right there watching everything, would you act? And then, you know, you hear all the excuses and this and that. But that goes to show when you know when somebody is for real, Meosha. When you actually feel and believe that God is watching everything you do, is right there with you, your whole attitude about life will change, you know, because you really feel that way. But if you just sitting around just expressing words and saying words every day, you'll start to live the way you want to live versus what God wants you to do and how God wants you to live. And so that's the way I live. I live, you know, as if I really feel, and I do really feel, because He's shown me that He is sitting on my shoulder. He's watching everything I do.
Yeah.
And you can't lose when you live that like that, Meosha.
Love
You
that.
know, you cannot lose. Not in
Yeah,
God's world. In
that's
man's
right.
world, somebody might say you're losing, but in God's world, you cannot lose.
And that's all that matters at the end of the day
And that's
because
all that
we're,
matters.
you know,
That's
but
all that matters, Meosha.
that's right. Love that. Thank you so much for coming on and blessing us with such
Meosha, you're a beautiful
great.
person. And,
Thank you.
you know, really, I never would have expected such a beautiful, I mean, I'm talking about,
Thank
you know, the
you.
way you carry yourself
Thank you.
and everything else. I can tell you've been around and
Thank
everything.
you.
So it's been a blessing to be on your show. Thank you for having me on your show
Thank you.
and everything. And I hope to talk to you again in the future.
Yes, come back anytime.
And please
Anytime.
listen, go and listen to not only Lord I Thank You, but listen to He Is. Okay,
He
I do
Is.
the lead vocals in He Is,
Okay.
and it's very popular.
I will.
It hasn't even been out a year yet. It's been out like maybe 8-9 months now.
All right.
But if you love words to a song, now listen to He Is. And like I say, thank you very much. And
Thank you.
email me if you need anything else.
I will. I definitely will. And this
Thank
will be out tomorrow. I'm gonna have it out tomorrow. This is such a great conversation. I had a really good time.
I had a really
Really
good time
good.
too, Miss Bean. Okay.
And thank you all for listening. And always remember to live, love, laugh. We'll see you guys next time.
Amen.
Bye.